Maryland is projected to have a $1 billion deficit by 2027 and a $6.7 billion deficit by 2030. Our current ongoing revenues can cover only 85% of general fund expenditures by 2030. The current state of governance in Maryland reflects an unfortunate status quo under unchecked Democratic leadership. Structural deficits have been a persistent issue in Maryland for decades, dating back to the time before Governor Hogan cleaned up the mess made by Martin O'Malley. Now we discover ourselves reverting to a governance style reminiscent of the O'Malley era. The progressive left resembles a group of children in a grocery store eager to spend the family savings on Jolly Ranchers, Pop-Tarts, cookies, and other treats, oblivious to the fact that such indulgences are not affordable. They require a responsible adult to remind them of this reality. In our reality, there aren't any adults accompanying the children. Unfortunately, 75% of the seats in the legislature are held by individuals who irresponsibly spend taxpayer dollars and offset these expenses by raising taxes. As Maryland is projected to endure a $6.7 billion deficit by 2030, taxpayers can expect a sales tax increase, a corporate tax increase, a 2 cents per ounce tax increase on sodas, closing the pass-through LLC loophole, and many other regressive ideas facilitated by Fair Share Maryland. We have an unfunded mandate called the Blueprints for the Future that will force localities to increase property taxes to offset mandates by the state. The Blueprint Trust Fund is set to expire in 2027, and there will be no additional funding sources available afterwards. Furthermore, spending from the blueprints will be directly allocated into the general fund balance. This $30 billion Teachers Fund plan accounts for about 40% of our long-term structural deficit and is the sole reason why Moody's credit agency has downgraded our AAA bond rating. The return on this investment is lacking, as graduation rates in Maryland remain stagnant and only 24% of the students are actually proficient in math. Rising costs of mandatory entitlement programs, increased enrollment in Medicaid as 24% of the population relies on public health, accounting errors at the Department of Health's Developmental Disability Administration, frivolous spending on green energy subsidies, and higher compensation for state employees also contribute to our long-term budget deficit. However, aside from the boondoggle blueprint plan, our sluggish economic outlook actually comes from our weak revenue streams, which are a very big contributor to our budget crisis. We've only added about 37,000 new jobs in 2024, and our nominal GDP per capita growth is marginal at best. But our future will not be bleak if we implement comprehensive budget strategies that comprise the following without touching a single penny from the Development Disability Admin. We need a 2% size reduction to the 22 departments, which would save about $1.2 billion annually. Removing the 40% planning time altogether in the blueprint, which would save Maryland about $1.5 billion by 2030. We need to modernize government payment systems to ensure that providers pay DDA what they owe, which would save the state $120 million. We need to reduce corporate taxes to 6%, which would encourage corporate investment in the state, potentially leading to the creation of 100,000 new jobs and generating about $1.7 billion in revenue from income taxes. These comprehensive budget solutions aren't just talking points. These are actionable items that can end our perpetual budget deficits and tax increases, and even potentially put rebates back into the pockets of Marylanders.